Okay, great. Well, look, without any further ado, we're going to cut straight into our first presentation now. Lee Peterson is the EVP of Thought Leadership at WD Partners, and he's a real favorite of ours at RetailSpaces here. The audience loves him. He has a lot of great insights, and he's going to be covering a topic that a lot of us are probably thinking about, and that is, what does the physical environment look like? What does the store of the future look like in into the future? And apparently it's not a store at all. So we're going to cut to that right now so you can guys get those insights. Here's Lee.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back at RetailSpaces. One of my favorite places to go. It's too bad we're not going anywhere, but it is what it is. I'm here to talk to you about the store of the future is not a store. So we're going to show you a number of things, research-based. And please keep that in mind. At the end of this, we're going to give you an address to download a white paper that has a lot more information I'm about to show you for free. And I've got 15 minutes to rock and roll here, so hang on to your Teslas because here we go. So a quick agenda. I'm going to talk about 2020 for about 5 seconds. You're going to get it because we all have been living through this in the past 8 months. We're going to talk about the upside to that, which is based on consumer research and what we think is also the way forward. So here we go. So 2020 can be summarized, I think, like this, right? I mean, anything that you look at looks like this. Unless you're Walmart or Amazon, the economy looks like this. Your business looks like this. Everything looks like that except for a couple of different things, which we'll talk about here in a second. On the good side, right? E-com doesn't look like that. Buy online doesn't, pick up in store doesn't look like that. Delivery doesn't look like that. And the behemoths are the behemoths, and they are definitely taking advantage of the situation. The bad news is over there on the right, and I think I'm not going to talk about that too long because you know what it is. And part of it is to stores. A lot of stores were shut down. Some stores were not shut down. But nonetheless, that's the bad news over there on the right-hand side. And basically for 2020, we know that store closings, intentional, but on top of that, I mean, the lists go on and on and on to the tune of, according to UBS research, 100,000 more stores will close within the next 5 years. I do not dispute that number. I think that is a correct number. We're going to be a lot smaller on the physical side than we were before. However, that also means that the physical side has to change. So look at it this way. Here's a quote from Winston Churchill, a guy known for not giving up. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. Let's keep that in mind. Failure is not fatal. And in a lot of cases, that's what we've run across this year. It takes the courage to continue. So let's talk about how we're going to continue. So the upside to this, right? And I pulled this quote off from a medical person. So this is nobody in retail or anything like that, but keep this in mind. So let's just not go back to the way that we did things before. This is an opportunity to start fresh, to rethink what we've been thinking before, to accept new thinking, and to go forward in a much fresher way. And if it's coming from a doctor, maybe that has a lot more credibility than it does coming from somebody like us, or even to a lot of companies coming from the consumer, because some of the things the consumer are asking for seem unreasonable, especially cost-wise. So buy online, pick up in store. This is from our research. Just in the last couple of months, almost 2/3 of people have used buy online, pick up in store. That is a big plus, and we have to keep that in mind. We know for a fact, and this is like over and over in our research, just about everything we do on buy online, pick up in store, it is the top digital retail tool. Anything else that you're trying pales in comparison to buy online, pick up in store. Consumers love it. So here's a chart that we did. We gave everybody, 2,100 consumers across the United States, a vote. Who does buy online, pick up in store best? And you can see box stores are clocking it. And one of the reasons for that is that they have been doing it for a lot longer than anybody, because they figured out buy online, pick up in store was really important 3-4 years ago and started implementing it. Walmart actually has almost 4,000 stores that are doing buy online, pick up in store. Grocery and restaurant, you can see, are scrambling, mostly because they had to. And specialty, you can see why specialty is doing poorly as they have been, and why they're going to have to close as many stores, because they have yet to figure this very important component out. Okay, then delivery, also huge, like basically 100%, right? everybody put delivery in the top two boxes for a lot of reasons, but I think that this reason goes forward as we asked them, like, is delivery important to you? Go forward, 100%. And then we asked them, who does delivery best? Once again, box stores at the top, but also grocery, which is really interesting because, as all of us know, grocery is not at the top of the list of people that do delivery at this point in time. Restaurant, you think, would be bigger, and again, you can see specialty down towards the bottom here, not doing e-com, basically delivery, very well at this moment. So we ask consumers, how are you going to prefer to shop? When this is over, whenever that may be, how are you going to prefer to shop? We asked this question last year. We got 25% said not in a store. I prefer to shop, have it delivered to my house. I prefer to do a buy online, pick up store, anything but go into a store. The study that we just did showed that number at 52%, so twice what it was before. So this is one of those things where, yeah, we had a cataclysmic event, but it really affected the way that consumers think and the way that they shop, that they're not going to go back into stores. So that's something to think about. If you think we're going back to normal, think again. And 52% is massive. So now that's twice as few customers as you had before. So I don't know, 10 years ago you had 100 customers, now you're going to have 50, or 100. If you had 10, now you're going to have 5. You basically have to rethink what physical stores are all about, which we're going to get into. So would you use a pickup and delivery only, a dark store? Because dark stores are a big question. So we ask consumers, by vertical, give us top 2 box rankings on dark store only. So this is a store you can only do pickup delivery. You can't go inside and shop it. You can see the numbers across the board are pretty high. Restaurants, big box stores, really great. Specialty down below there. So, but still the numbers range from 35 to like 50 some percent, which I think is pretty good. There's general acceptance for dark stores, considering there's very few right now. And grocery, a little bit lower. And one of the interesting things about grocery is we asked them top 2 boxes, 1 through 7. Grocery had the highest number of 1 boxes. In other words, people that really wanted the physical experience. So grocery a little bit different, that we know from qualitative, and you'll see that in the white paper if you download it. And then behind my head here, if I can figure out which way to move, excellent is on the far right. So how important is customer experience? Still very, very important from what we can tell. So we've got delivery, buy online, pick up in store, and also customer experience, very important. Are you going back to stores? Well, maybe not so much. So there's 3-4 things at play there from what we're hearing with consumers. Which category does the in-store experience matter the most for? Big box, and that's big news to me compared to specialty. I would think that specialty retail, and maybe that we're assuming here that specialty retail already does it pretty good, but then again, consumers are saying it's most important for big box, and maybe that's an improvement note for big box going forward. So basically, is this the future of retail, where you pull up in the front, you can put your returns in that little glazing right there and inside there, or you just pull up in a space and somebody comes out and put it out? There's electric vehicles and drones going back. Is this the future of retail? Our answer right now from what we're getting from consumers is partially, yes, this is the future of retail. So way forward, and again, this is customer base. It's not just WD partners based. Let's talk about e-com. I just had to put this in there because I don't want you to think that we're not thinking about this. But table stakes. And especially now, if you didn't have e-com set up really well, you were in super big trouble. And this is why. Take a look at these numbers just from last month. For second quarter, look at Walmart's number, 100%. That's a 100% increase, a big number on a big number. Take a look at Best Buy. It's been Dick's, my God. Bath & Body Works, almost 200% over last year for second quarter. So people are definitely shopping online. That is a key component to all of this, even if you are going to pick it up in terms of BOPIS. So for physical retail, we see 2 big things going forward. One of them is an organizational detail, but the other one is about physical retail itself. Number 1, portfolio strategy. Consumers are saying, I want to shop in like 3 or 4 different ways. You need to have all of them available, or I'm going to go somewhere else and get it. Number 1, fulfillment centers. So Some people call these dark stores, but I think fulfillment centers goes a long way, and you could even create a hybrid, which we'll show you in a minute. But in this instance, somebody pulls up on the right, or you can park there, wait for your box to pull up because you just ordered it a few minutes ago. The inside of which looks just like this. It looks like a warehouse where you get your orders, you bring your orders out, all the orders are up on top electronically. There's no pickers running around in front of customers. It's a pure dark store. You pull up, and as we know, everybody loves BOPUS, a great option. And the same with this. It could be something on the street. So for urban locations, it could be something like this. This also tested very well for us. So you press it in like a locker concept. And then hybrids. We think hybrids are also really important. So you pull up, you have your groceries or whatever it is put in the back of the store, but you can also shop the store. And I think this is really important for grocery stores from the information that we got. And the reason I'm saying that is we showed this grocery concept where on the left-hand side, we said you can shop, you can do whatever you want. You can also do grab and go. And I don't mean grab and go like the kind that exists now. I mean the kind like Starbucks has. So you order a meal on your app, you pull up in your car on your way home from work and you get meals. And then on the right-hand side is a complete fulfillment center where you can pull up. You see the automobiles behind my head there. You can pull up there and have them put into your trunk, or it would be delivered to your house, perhaps with electric vehicles. But look at that acceptance rate, 80% of 2,100 consumers across the U.S. Or a restaurant like this also scored very well, where you pull up and you get grab and go, speed lane and an order lane where maybe you just could take a little bit longer because you just ordered it, and then a restaurant in the back with a much more ergonomic or beautiful place in terms of the space, a much more design space in the background. Or for big box stores or even shopping centers, do you have this hybrid of fulfillment center in the back? Notice the little drones on the top, and buy online, pick up in store on the left-hand side, delivery on the left-hand side, and shopping all throughout the center part of that. And this applies to big box stores. Target is doing something like this right now, but even though they haven't moved their walls up yet, which I foresee in the future, they're fulfilling 80% of their online orders out of the back room. So that's definitely going to happen. And then something like this too, which is a hybrid experience where you can shop on the right-hand side, but get an order fulfillment or just pick up an order fulfillment on the right. And then last but not least is experience. For specialty, if you can just ship to home, or you're doing a tremendous amount of business, I saw Abercrombie had almost 60% increase over last year in e-com, then you can afford to do showroom stores more like this, where you try something out like Bonobos and have it shipped there with a lounge and also a cafeteria, a bar, a coffee bar, a gaming room, something like that becomes purely experience. Or a grocery store where you have your meals, everything that you wanted for your meal is right there on those little charts above the fixtures. You put it in a bag and you grab and go, or your orders are fulfilled on the right-hand side behind my head back there, or you have a coffee bar there and you wait for your order to be fulfilled and brought out to you. Or just an old-fashioned flagship Nike experience, something beautiful like this, where everything under the universe is happening, and it's great. You can experience product, touch product, try product on, talk to athletes in Nike's case, etc. So the way that would work is if you have existing stores right now in a market like Columbus, which is 1.4 million, working on like 1.6 million here any day now. Some of the stores that you have could be converted to dark or opened as dark in warehouse areas that are less expensive, lower cost in labor, etc., and just ship to home, just deliver or just have pickup to them. A smaller number of stores that are hybrid, where you're fulfilling orders in the back one way or the other, and then you have slight experience or a better experience in the front part of the store, and then a few experience stores for the customers that prefer that day, that they prefer to shop in a completely different day in a leisurely way. But this type of organization like this, in terms of how stores work, is what customers are asking for. Like, what type of portfolio do you have? Which store do I want to go to today? I can't get out because of my kids today, so I'm going to have to order it online. Or you know what, you guys, it's Saturday, let's go get some ice cream and shop in a really wonderful store. So portfolio strategy looks like this. Dark stores, yes, maybe more than you think. And then hybrid stores, like the image that we showed earlier. Hybrid stores and then experience stores, all very, very important. Item number 2 in terms of the way forward, reorg to the customer. And we've talked about this before, but this comes from our experience in working with large companies and small companies, that if you are organized, most companies, and especially companies that were created in the 80s and 90s, are organized vertically, so that the way it works is you have HR, or you have design, or you have ops, and you have your team, and it's a giant team, and as a leader you're supposed to communicate with everybody else to get something done. See, this is a slow motion effort now that needs to change to something more like this. So if you want to get, this is based on what the customer wants. So the customer wants showroom stores, the customer wants dark stores, the customer wants BOPUS in any way, shape, or form. You create a team that does nothing else than work on those customer-driven topics until you get that test out there, you figure out how it works, and then off to the right it goes over to implementation. So reorg to the customer. That needs to happen, and needs to happen fast. And so two things, again, portfolio strategy and reorg to the customer, we see as the way forward for retail coming out of this. And as a glass half full, we absolutely understand from the customer that these types of things are going to work. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from one of my favorite poets. And I'm covering up his nose, but as you know, he's a gorgeous looking guy. And one of the poems he wrote went something like this: "Time to hesitate is through, retailers. No time to wallow in the mire. I know that we can only lose." And we will if we don't act quickly, given everything that's happened in the last 5 years, not only this year, but in the last 5 years. And that's it from us. I'm going to give you this so you can download this white paper for free. Thank you very much. Get a copy of that for free. And I hope to see you in person.
Lee, once again, as always, awesome presentation, awesome insights. Do we still have Lee on the feed? Lee, you there? Well, as always, I always look forward to Lee Peterson talks at RetailSpaces live and on stage. And thanks for joining us for the first time doing this virtually, giving your awesome insights. I thought we were going to have time for a question here with you, Lee. There you are. I wish we could spend the afternoon kind of talking through all this stuff. And I know normally we give you like 45 minutes to an hour on stage, and every year I'm trying to cut you down shorter and shorter. And it's not because we don't want to listen to you any longer. And just so you know, I can see in the comments here a lot of great feedback on your talk, and that we will be sending out a summary email at the end of the day. We'll also link to that white paper as well. But time for one question, I guess, that we have here came from Tony. And it's a good one. He's saying, how is the in-store experience described, defined to the respondents of these polls? He was saying he would guess that the average customer doesn't think the same way that this audience thinks about the in-store experience. They're maybe not thinking that way. So how do you guys describe that?
So we described it to them in several sentences. I may not remember them all, but basically we said great customer service, easy navigation, easy to shop, and also terrific store design on top of it. So an all-around great experience from a perspective of who you meet during this, like how you're treated during this, and then what the ambiance was as well. So it wasn't just store design, and it wasn't just customer service. It was all of those. And we said, consider all of these when you make your vote. So that's where that information came from. We felt it was pretty well rounded.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. So Lee, again, thanks so much for the talk. And I guess we're going to bring up our next presenter in a minute, who's Jordan Burke, who's actually, it's a great segue because he's going to be discussing kind of dark stores. And you're the one who introduced us to Jordan, so thank you for that. And I guess the claim to fame there with him is that he's closed more dark stores than more people than have actually opened them, right? Is that kind of thing? So we're going to learn about that right after this commercial break. So thank you so much, Lee, for joining us.
At FSG, we understand that managing a business is difficult. Managing a facility becomes very complex. So at FSG, we've created a business that allows us to solve for those complex challenges in lighting, electrical, technology, signs, and energy management. And we've developed a business that no matter where you are in the country, we're there to support you.